Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Learn with Animesh. You are watching Learn Playwright with TypeScript series. In the last lecture, we learned about visual testing and how to perform visual regression testing using Playwright. In this lecture, we'll learn about how to perform API testing using Playwright. Playwright provides tools performing not only UI testing but also API testing as well. So you can use Playwright to expose you can use Playwright to perform REST API testing and send and receive request and verify the response. Playwright team have created this comprehensive documentation of API testing. Check the link in the description. I'll be using this demo texture application. This is the front end. So till now what we have write test cases to interact with this front end application, but now what we will do, we'll test the backend as well using Playwright. And I have already Postman collection where I have all the list of backend applications. So localhost 3000 is the and /API is the backend endpoint, how we can actually connect to server. First let's understand how we will be performing this in Postman. So if you are already familiar with Postman, then you can see you have a get method and then the API endpoint. This is called an endpoint, and you can send this, and if you are hitting a valid endpoint, then you will get all the details in the form of a JSON. Here we are getting all the list of products in a array format. You can check one single product. Let's say this is the product ID, and if you want to retrieve a single product, I am on my VS Code, and this is the get request, how you can send this get request using Playwright. So if you can remember what we import, we use the page fixture when interacting with a certain web page, but we use request fixture in order to interact with API requests, and we are just using the same test and expect from the Playwright test. And the very first line, the line number 6, we are using this await request. Request have some methods like get, put, post, delete, whatever you see in Postman. So you can see request.get, and you provide that endpoint, API endpoint. This will actually return you an API response object. Response object have this OK. So if you see this response.OK, so it will be either true or false depending on if the status code is between 200 to 299. So what I have done here, I have asserted that the response.ok to be true, and then we are expecting that response.status. This is also a method of the response object. You can see here, if I send this request, I will get all the response as an array. So this is called the body. So if we are using this await or response.json, it will return you the body of that particular. Then we are just console logging the body for now, and then we are verifying that all the product, whichever the length of the array is 40, that means there are total 40 products there. So if I run this test, and console log is always optional, this is only for debugging purpose. Once you just see that the test passed, and every time you run API test, try to fail the test, because you in that scenario you will know that your test is working fine. So if I use, instead of 40, I use 39, so the test should fail in this expect assertion. That so you see here the expected length is 40, expected length is 39, and we received 40. So that's why the test failed. So always try to fail your test so that you know that it failed for the correct reason. And now let's see what the next test is doing. So it is retrieving a single product. So if we go into Postman, and if you give it the product ID, you send, you will get the response body as this ID with a single name. So you can pass this product ID in this as a constant, and this will be same because const response is just await request.get, and then the endpoint straight away. And then what we are doing is we are extracting the body using response.json. So we are just console logging it, and then two of the verification you should always do is the response is okay or not, that is between 200 to 299, and that status code, if you are expecting 200, it should be 200. And then what we are actually seeing is that response body means this this response body to have property called name. So you can see here there is a property, the property is name. So that is how you can use this expect assertion to have property as name, and this response body dot name, this response body dot name will give you the value of that property. So you can see that to be, that means it should equal to this smartwatch series 7. If you execute this test, and let's see if the test is passing or not. So the test passed because, but if you just change the assertion here, this test should fail, and you'll know why this test have failed. So you can see here the expected is smartwatch 6, but you have received 7. So this is the assertions are the backbone of API tests. So whenever you are doing API tests using any tool, Playwright or any tool, always want to have a robust assertion. We need to send a post request here. So what is a post request? First, let's see in Postman. Let's say you want to log in to that particular front end. What you do username and password and click on login, and you can log into front end. So what backend did is backend did a login API call with this email ID and password. If they are valid, if you send them, you'll receive a response body and a token back. So if you are a valid user ID, then you will get this, and if in case your user ID and password are incorrect, then you should say an invalid credential, which is 400 bad request. Now I will show you if you are making a post request. First, what I did is I created a login payload variable, and I created that payload email ID and password as a TypeScript object. Then what we are doing is just instead of request.get, we use await request.post, and the first parameter will always be the API endpoint, which is the auth/login endpoint, and then we are passing as an object. So in the first we are using data, and in this data what we are sending is the payload, which is the login payload, and headers. So as I mentioned, headers sometimes are important, so you can send it as a headers with the key value pair. Key is content type and the value is application/JSON. So this is also an object. Then we are getting a response back, which is API response, and we are extracting the body here. Now we are just console logging that, and those two validations are common, where we are saying that response is okay and response status is 200. And then what we are doing is response body to have. So what we are validating, these assertions are quite important and specific to this test. So response body to have property is token. So we are validating this response body have this property of token, and the next validation is this response body dot token dot length. So the response body dot token is a string element. So this string element have a method in JavaScript or TypeScript called length. So we are checking that the length is greater than 0, and then what we are doing is response body dot user to have property. So response body dot user will give you this object, and we are sending we are checking that this has a property called email, and that's what we are validating here in line 24. And in line 25 what we are doing is user response body user dot email. This have to be equal to login payload dot email ID. So in login payload we have sent the email ID as this. So we are matching in the last line that this login ID actually matches that particular email. So let's execute and see if the tests are passing all the assertions. So the tests have passed, but always try to verify. Let's say user.email ID. This test should fail. So you can see the test have failed. And same I have done here with the registration endpoint as one, that is also, and post endpoint. So what we are doing is we are just storing the register payload with all the registration details, and then we are validating the body. And what is different here is when a user is registered, then a database is updated with data, and the status code it shows is 201. Let's say in Postman we go and we are trying to register a new user. So what we have done here is we are just providing all the email and we'll sending it, and you say 201 with register user successfully. But if you want to register already registered user which have already the email present and you want to send it, you'll say 400 a bad request, and you see the user already exists. So these are the some negative scenario you should also think of testing when you are doing API testing. And I execute this. The test have passed, and you can see I'm printing also the response. Print is not there, but if I want to execute the same test, then it should fail because the user is already registered. So you can see this is failing, this assertion expected receipt to be truthy, but this is not truthy because the response code was 400 as you see in the postman. Now what we'll understand how to send authentication token. So now let's imagine a scenario. You want to check customer's order, and for checking customer's order you have an endpoint which is user ID and orders endpoint. But in order to be checking the orders, you have to be logged in, right? You need to be logged in. So what we have done in this test here is we need that authentication token, and we need to hit that login endpoint. And once we hit the login endpoint with the login payload which you already have shown in the post request script, and once we are getting that response body login data, what we are doing, we are storing that as a login data dot token. So the token value which we get here for a retrieve user, so this token value will be stored, and this to be defined. So we are checking that is expect this to be defined, and we are just console logging it. This is happened in the before all hook. And what we have done in the actual test, so we know that the user ID, so in order to get all the orders of that particular user, you need the user ID, and you also you get the user ID from that login endpoint as well. But for here we have actually hard coded this user ID. So what we are doing here is we are doing a get request for getting the orders. We are just passing the user ID in the first API endpoint. Next is important, in the header section, instead of passing that content type as application JSON, what we are doing is authorization. We are sending this authorization header as a bearer, and then the token value which we will get from this before all. Then we will retrieve all the orders, and you will validate if that 200 OK response is coming. So if I execute this, then the test have passed. But in case I am giving a invalid user ID, it should throw a failure. This time is also passing. So if I give the invalid user ID, it should throw an error. But as you can see here, the test is passing. That means that there is some. So even if you are using a different user ID, it is giving you still giving you the response. Sometimes you may need to check this retrieve all orders manually. So you can see if that user token have expired, you will see unauthorized here as unauthorized with this particular user ID. But then what you need to do is you need to hit the login endpoint and generate a token, fresh token, and copy the token. And in case of postman retrieve all orders, if we go in the authorization, there is a token where you need to replace that token. And if you hit that send button, now you see 200 OK responses coming, and user is able to authenticate. And if I go in the param section, and let's say I deleted the user ID here, then still it is giving me that response which is not correct. The authorization is working fine, because if you are unauthorized, then you are sending this request, you are getting the 401 unauthorized. The token has expired. And there are can be a few different endpoints like patch endpoint, which you can see, so it's the same as the post endpoint. Patch is used for updating that order. So here what a patch endpoint, how the patch endpoint work is, you need to, let's say order is cancelled. So how you cancel the order from the app or website, backend API gets hit and then the order gets cancelled. So in that, the order already exists in the database. There is a patch endpoint. Generally what it does is it will cancel the order. So in that scenario, still you need to be logged in. So what I did in the before each hook is I have logged in, I have stored the token. So this is an end-to-end scenario I have created. I have logged in and then I have created an order here. Once the order with the order endpoint, I have created the order, and once the order is created using the post request, what I verify the order is created, extracted the order ID, and in the test what I did is I used the patch endpoint to cancel that particular order and verify all the response code is fine and the order gets cancelled. So this is a real example of using multiple endpoints and then doing an end-to-end testing using API. You can also do that, and you should always do that end-to-end flow using API as well. Let's execute this test and see if the test is passing or not. But patch endpoint is similar. As a post endpoint, you have to send the head authorization header as a bearer token there. Similar to get, this the delete endpoint also works in a similar way. Let's say you want to delete the some product which is outdated from database. You can use this delete endpoint. It is same as get endpoint. So you just need to provide the endpoint in the request.delete and you'll get the response back, and then from the body you can validate that your body is correctly configured and all the properties in your body are correct. Time for a knowledge check. If you're following this lecture, you'll be able to answer the questions in the screen. Feel free to answer your comment. I will reply over your comment if you are correct or not. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, hit the like button, click on subscribe, and I'll be uploading many more videos in this Playwright series. There are a couple more to left where I'll be teaching you how to create a framework using page object model, and also I'll teach you how you can use those Playwright's new agents. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on my next video.